Hello there. Dr. Bill Crawford here, psychologist, speaker, author of 8 books, host of 2 PBS specials. Here again to bring you another tip on how to help you create the life you want. Specifically, how to use my life from the top of the mind philosophy to bring more clarity, confidence, creativity into everything we do. So today what I want to do is talk about how the brain kind of influences how we think and feel, and especially looking at how the most powerful part of the brain is mostly unconscious. And that's a problem, because if it's unconscious, we don't have any awareness of them, and it's hard to influence it. So there's a quote that I love that I use in all of my seminars and my books. It says, it's from Albert Einstein. It says, problems cannot be solved at the same level of awareness that created them. So what I want to do today is to kind of give you some information on what I call the what and the why. What's really getting in the way of our clarity, confidence, and creativity, why that's happening, looking at that unconscious part of the brain, and then kind of give you a sense of what we could do about it, kind of moving forward. Now, one of the things I've learned as a presenter is just sitting in front of the camera isn't always the best way to get an idea across. So I'm going to move this aside and bring in a flip chart. This is something I use in my in-person presentations, and I wanted to kind of just share it with you so we can kind of talk about real life. So basically what we've got here, I know it looks kind of chaotic here, but it says problem triggers, and we're talking about like things like COVID or difficult people who aren't listening, won't listen, argumentative, unreasonable, etc. Kids, family, uncertainty, deadlines, deadbeats, in-laws, outlaws, whatever. You know, what I do when I'm doing my presentations is get a list of the things that people would say gets in the way. What's getting in the way of your clarity, confidence, and creativity? What's triggering you today? Because I want to make sure I'm dealing with real life. And I say, okay, when we find ourselves dealing with all this stuff, how do we find ourselves reacting? And people say, man, we get stressed, you get frustrated, anxious, angry, worried, start to doubt our own judgment, self-doubt, feel overwhelmed from time to time, resentful, confused, annoyed, lose focus, lose sleep, drives us crazy. So now we've got a sense of what real life is. The trap that people get into is they are kind of afraid that this makes us this, because it looks like that, right? I mean, this happens and then we feel this. But there's a gentleman who came up with a model that I really like. It was a while back. His name's Albert Ellis. He came up with the ABC model. So he calls this A for the adverse event. Could be almost anything negative. And he calls this C for the consequence. He says the trap that people fall into is they think that A causes C. Or when I'm talking about the what, the why, and the how, people mistake the what for the why. They think, well, the reason I'm feeling stressed, angry, frustrated, annoyed is because of all these situations and difficult people. But we don't want these situations or difficult people to have the power to make us feel that way. And we certainly don't want to get caught in a cycle where we find ourselves reacting, and the reaction makes the original trigger seem worse. That creates another reaction, and we find ourselves caught in this cycle. So here's the good news, especially when we're talking about that unconscious brain. The good news is A doesn't cause C. A is filtered through B, and B causes C. So what we got to do is we got to figure out what B is and how we can influence it. Now, a long time ago, before they had MRIs and things like that, the gentleman who came up with this model called B our beliefs, which is true. But then what part of the brain houses our beliefs? And what I found is it's this middle brain. It's called the limbic system. You know, basically we got 3 parts of the brain. Lower brain's called the brainstem. Upper 80% of the brain's called the neocortex. I call it the top of the mind. This is where we have access to our interpersonal skills, problem-solving skills, clarity, confidence, creativity, etc. But it's this middle brain, the limbic system, that is the scanner, processor, router part of the brain. It scans incoming data, processes it or interprets it, and then either routes it down to the lower brain or up to the top of the mind. Problem is, the middle brain's mission on the planet, as long as we've been on the planet, has been to keep us alive as a species. So it's biased toward the negative. It's kind of scanning the environment, looking for signs of threat or danger. And that makes it look more toward the negative than the positive, because negative situations like this contain more of a threat than positive situations. Unfortunately, it's not very smart, and it's working with old software, and it's unconscious. So it's misinterpreting something or someone negative as dangerous, throwing us into the part of the brain that's designed to deal with danger, This is where it actually triggers certain chemicals like adrenaline, noradrenaline, and cortisol, triggers our stress, frustration, anxiety, resentment. And by the way, when we're in a fight or flight situation, in a physically dangerous situation that we need to react to without thinking, then going to this lower brain is the perfect part of the brain to go to. Problem is, we're being thrown down in this old reactive brain by the middle brain, this unconscious middle brain, in situations where we need access to our best interpersonal skills, problem-solving skills, clarity, confidence, creativity, etc. So when I'm talking about the what, the why, and the how, the what is getting caught in this cycle, but also recognizing that what is really doing it, what's doing it is the brain, this B here. This middle brain, this unconscious part of the brain is the why. It's why we find ourselves reacting to negative people or situations in a way that doesn't really serve us. Matter of fact, it traps us in this cycle. It's unconscious. There's a quote from Carl Jung that says, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will control your life. We don't want this unconscious brain controlling our lives, and we certainly don't want these difficult people or difficult situations controlling our life. So in terms of the what, the why, and the how, my how, life from the top of the mind system, is a three-part system. The first thing I do is show us how to break this cycle, how to actually shift from the lower brain up into the top of the mind and access the best of who we are. Because until we do that, then we're kind of still lost in the cycle. So it's a model that actually spells the brain, that shows people how to shift up there and actually even change the chemical makeup of our brain and body from adrenaline, noradrenaline, and cortisol to serotonin and endorphins. Then I give you some more information. How do you stay there? How do you rewire the brain so that living in and coming from this clear, confident, creative, compassionate part of you becomes your new habit? So I show you how to do that. Then in part 3 of the system, I show you how to get other people to shift from their resistant brain to their receptive brain so you can create a true solution-focused conversation with them. Now, we can't do this in this video. It's a short video. But if this is something you feel would be good for you, your family, your organization, this is what I love to do. I get to go around the world teaching people my life from the top of the mind philosophy, showing them how to actually shift to the clear, confident, creative brain versus staying stuck in this cycle. Showing them how to rewire the brain. You may have heard the concept of neuroplasticity. It means the brain is always rewiring itself. So I show you how to make parts of this unconscious middle brain conscious or connected to the conscious part of the upper brain so that we can have more influence over it. Then I show people how to get these other people to shift from their resistant brain to the receptive brain so they truly hear and understand what we're wanting them to know. If this is something you'd like me to do with your organization, all you got to do is go to my website, billcrawfordphd.com, hit the contact button, let me know what you're interested in, or of course you can pick up the book. It's on Amazon, also on Audible for those of you who like to listen. So if you find this valuable, please hit the like button. You know how folks love it when you like it. Share it with your friends if you think they might find it valuable as well. I try to post one of these each week. So if you subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow me on LinkedIn or Facebook or iTunes or any of those, you'll be able to kind of get one of these each week. So this has been good for me. I hope it's been good for you. So in the meantime, in the future, here's to you bringing more clarity, confidence, creativity to everything you do. And I look forward to seeing you in the future.